Hey, everybody. Welcome into Star Wars Day by Day. Thanks for being here. Glad you're thanks for making space for us. I'm going to move my camera because I've been doing the whole. Hopefully, I remember to crop this. We'll see what happens. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments if I don't end up cropping it. Hopefully, I think I will. Fingers crossed. It will actually. We'll see. I've been trying to get the crop down and all this fun stuff, but it's a process. But anyway, it's 11:20 at night. I'm just watching. For the last couple minutes. I mean, I stopped to do this, obviously, but I stopped to. I've been watching the last of Kieran Nate, who I mentioned before, Ride Across America from last year. It is, oh my! I'm like, Kara said it that Nate enjoys it. Kudos to you, my friend. It's if you have that mentality to where you're just up for these physical challenges of like riding a bicycle across the country, that is something I don't have in me, to be perfectly honest. And if you do, if you're one of those people that's just down for any physical challenge, God bless you. But I'm just, and that's what I think is interesting about the way people are built. And there's a certain amount of willpower that goes along with that. That's like when it comes to just the idea of riding across the country, it's like, I mean, driving across the country is long enough. I was thinking about we routinely drive south for vacation every year, and it takes about it's around 1,000 miles. This year I think it's gonna be a little bit longer. It's going to somewhere else first, but it's around 1,000 miles, and they on this journey they had the goal of doing this whole thing at 3,000 miles, so like 100 miles a day, 30 days. And I was thinking about that, how easy a 100-mile drive would be in a day. But instead, we're trying to we ideally when we drive this, we want to drive 500 or 600 miles in a day. Obviously, we'll try to knock out the most miles in the first day, so you don't have to drive as much on the second day. So we're trying to drive 6 hours. We're trying to drive, 600-700 miles, which, if you're driving 70 the whole time, or let's be honest, some number above that, then, 700 miles is 10 hours of driving. And then I don't think it's realistic because, we have children that are preschool children, they need to eat, kind of want to stop and use the bathroom and pick up some grub. And you want to try to do that 3.5, 4 hours, something like that, just because you're like, for me, it's about 3 hours, and then I need to stretch out and just walk around. So we'll stop for, the first time just getting in the van, it's like, okay, let's get somewhere. Let's get some stop somewhere, get our egg stretched out, get some more gas, get some food. It'll probably be, honestly, we hope to do it in a half an hour, but sometimes it's a little bit longer. So you're at 3.5 hours. You do that, try to stretch it out, make it a little longer, try to go a little bit over 4 hours. So you're essentially already at 8 hours. And then you're stopping again. And you've only driven 7 hours, but you're essentially 8 hours in. And so it's like, okay, do we push? Do we do another 3 hours, or we just, end it? You try to do mileage wise. But it's like this. They end up taking 36 days to do what ends up being 3,100 miles. And just all of this stuff. And they're in these videos, they're packing a few days together. And so they're doing all of this editing, and they're editing all of this footage down. Not that I know how much they have, but they're making it, each episode is like, hey, this last episode is we're doing, they pick 5 days of writing into an hour. So a potential of 110 hours, something like that. Doesn't seem right. No, it's like 120 hours. So it's like a potential of 120 hours. They edit it down to an hour of footage. And, a lot of that is, you sleep for however long, but it's like brutal because they're doing the last day. And, just think about, I started talking about the ride and how far and everything and doing, but it's just really interesting to think about. And I know I'm not totally connecting because I'm talking about how they took 36 hours and how I was doing that driving. And I was thinking, but the correlation is, I'm talking, trying to get 600-700 miles in a day, driving 10 hours with kids. And you could say, well, you can potentially drive across the whole country. If you end up doing 600 miles, if you end up doing 600 miles a day, then 5 days. And that's true, based upon what they're doing. And then you try to, it just makes you think about what kind of person you've got to be able to think, even with everything that's gone wrong. And there's probably so much more that's actually gone wrong in this whole ordeal, to still try to push through and to be able to knock a trip like this out. And they started like the beginning of October. They're finishing a few weeks into November, and it's just like, or a week into November, and it's like, wow, and to know that, it's great if you're with the right crew. And it's basically his wife, his brother, and his wife, and a family of 4 that's a cycling family. And they're doing this on a 3-person bike. So it's not like a normal bike. It's not like a normal 1-person bike. It's a 3-seater. And so there's the weight calculation, there's the quality of bike, which, from what I'm being told as I'm watching this video, it's a really good quality bike. But it's just chains breaking, spokes breaking, tires going flat. stuff just, and then to have to put up with the traffic. I'm just in awe of if you have that, because we had some relative that was into cycling. I don't know if he still is. And just to think about that, I mean, it's great if you're able to do it on your own, and you're able to knock out however much. Hey, we end up winning. We ended up being Lorenzo, who, if you saw the video, he's the guy that we undersized everybody on. How did I get knocked back down to carbonite? Because I was in bronzium, but I don't know. I'm not really worried about it, I guess. If you saw the video from whenever ago, he was the guy. You can go back and watch the video. Lorenzo, it's from the 22nd of June, obviously. You're probably going to be seeing this close to the end of June. I mean, like a week. But if you go back, he's the last person I beat on that. I play on that guy, and he's about like essentially every pack. And what he ends up throwing at me is garbage on defense. And he ends up using his really good stuff to take down my stuff. And then I end up undersizing everywhere. And even taking out his fleet. I think. Yeah, because his fleet was garbage. So, if you want to go back, feel free. That would be the June 22nd episode of the GAC stuff that I've actually already posted, like a few hours ago at this point. But yeah, I'm just like watching this. I'm like in awe of them doing this, and I'm like, and it's just, you know, with people like Nick Care, they'll do all these travels, and it's like, how much money did this cost for you to do all this traveling? And then you're like watching this where they're spending basically nothing this whole trip, and they're doing it for a month, and you're like, they're riding across the country, and you're like, why would you do that? Because it's just brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And you just, I don't, I would love to know. And I talked about this a little bit when I talked about the Heirs of the Empire series that I have the idea for. It's like, what went on in the debrief between the chapters or between the episodes. What happened in there? And that's what I'm sort of curious with between this bike series and what they do next. It's like, what did you do? Did you just take it 2 weeks and just sleep before you went and did something else? I'm just like floored by the idea of that, because even when I drive this just down south for vacay, we take 2 days. It's not, you're in the car for 2 days. I get to where I'm going. I'm like, all right, I just need to do nothing for the day. I just need to do nothing and sleep. And of course, the family, because they've been doing nothing, they've not had to be driving. They've not had to deal with traffic the whole time. They're like, oh yeah, I want to do this, and this. And I'm like, okay. Which I can sound really lame, but at some point you're just like, I just need to rest. I just need like a day. And a day on vacation is huge but it's like, and so you have to actually make the decision: is this just me being curmudgeon-y, or is this something? Is this something where I need to? Is this? Do I need to listen to my body, or am I just doing what I prefer? And that can be a difficult balance to strike. But anyway, we're still moving on with the account. It's slow. Everything is slow. Everything is just super slow right now. I feel like, I mean, and I know that's the way free to play is, because you're like, it's like so many days. It's like, I feel like the goal with any account is to be like, okay, how long is, because honestly, getting some of these characters in the relics, and I will tell you that I've talked about this a number of times with my Harper Light account. I mean, it's like, at some point, I hope to have enough teams to where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just in a place where I'm just hoarding Kairos. And I don't know what that's going to be, especially for this account. Because at some point, I just like to be able to just farm nothing but Kairos and not be working on anything. But it's kind of like, and that to me is one of the appeals of not being really super concerned with GAC. I can just be like, because if you're doing GAC, then it's constantly like, okay, what is this? What do I think my opponent's going to be doing? What does he have? What do I think he's going to maybe go for? What is your primary concerns? It's just assault battles and raids. Then it's like you can still deal with the L in GAC. But it's like, it's more bearable because that what you did is, even if you just got one more character done for assault battles in a month, which I feel like that's going to be where we ultimately end up after we have all these characters farmed up. I mean, to 7 stars. Then just getting them with all the Kairos and getting them all the materials they need to make it to Gear 13. I feel like that's probably going to take 45 days on a lot of them, and maybe as much as 2 months. Which, let's be honest, I don't know that there's another person doing this that has been doing this for the length of time that I know there's somebody like 30 days behind me. And I see him, and it's like, okay. And I have no idea what he's doing. I don't have any idea if, what anybody else is doing, because I know if I fall into that mentality, then I'm just going to be like, well, this guy did this, I've got to make sure I do that. And it's like, no. Because if you fall into that, you're just falling into a trap that's just going to make you miserable. And everything in life is hard enough without adding, well, this guy did this, I need to do this, without, playing keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. But it'll be good. We'll be fine. Did I get everything out of the shops? I know I went into the shops, but I'm not sure if I ended up actually grabbing everything that I wanted to out of there. Do we have Eid Koth done here? No, she's not done. We actually have Sidious, so there's a thing that it's going to take. How long is that going to take to farm? And then here, it's like, well, who do I need in here? Where are we? Omega? Still not done with Omega, okay? And if you're worried about why I'm just buying characters constantly, it's because I don't have to worry about buying shards later. It's like if I knock out the characters first, then I can just concentrate on farming gear later. Except in here where we're just using this to farm gear. It's a balancing act, when I get done with War Arena or whatever, when I've got everything tapped out in there, then it allows me to shift gear priorities. But if there is something down here, there's nothing super high priority down here. But these are going to be useful for Mara and Eid Koth and what's his face? Plo Koon. I'm going to grab them in here. If there's something I'm low on, just go ahead and grab them in here. Because it's not going to kill you. You'll always be getting this currency next time you do whatever. All right, here we go. All right, so I think we're good. Yeah. All right, so I don't know if a lot of anything I made sense. I hope I connected some points. I just really had stuff to talk about when it comes to travel. That was kind of random. I admit that, but it's important that you don't try to keep up with the Joneses at all, and that's why I'm just not really paying attention to what any other day-by-day players doing. This day will be to end. It could be day 500. It could be day 550. It could be day 600. It could be day 650. It could be 2 years. It could be 3 years. But right now, honestly, I'm planning on 10. We'll see what happens. Thanks so much for being here. God bless. Hope you have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night. Till then, make sure to hold the line. Bye.